Drink it or wear it, it's okay. You would think people get bored watching me pour martinis, but they actually don't. It's fantastic. Welcome back to Late Night with Dr. Paul. I'm here with my good friends. Can I say that?
Well,
my acquaintances, Joe Landry, Brian Gazeley, renowned philanthropists, producers, sculptors, bakers, a little bit of everything. You wear a lot of hats.
Sex symbol wasn't included there. That should have been the top of the list.
I thought I said that.
No, top of the list. Have another drink.
We'll play it back later. I'm pretty sure I said that.
Did you put any alcohol in this?
Oh, God, no. It's all water. I can't afford alcohol. Now, that's sort of how I would describe you.
I thought I used it on my foot.
How would you guys describe yourselves? What if someone says, what do you guys do? What do you say?
We just keep busy.
Enjoy life.
That's how you do it. That's not what you do.
It's take a chance. Go after the adventures that come to you. Every single time you turn around, there will be a new opportunity. Take it. Try it. The worst you can do is fail. The best you can do is succeed.
Tonight, we balked at it for a little bit, but we said okay.
You balked at it for 5 years.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Really a slow night, obviously, but thankfully. So what is it, of all the things that you've been involved in, all the things you've done, that has sort of raised you to the level that you're at, that has allowed you to be on a show like Late Night with Dr. Paul?
The closer you come to failure, the better your chances of success.
Okay, I'm going to drink
I think there might be an insult in there. I'm not too sure about
Years ago,
I don't know, Paul, but I drink.
Years ago, we had a disaster. A piece called Cornerstone of the Nation was vandalized. A year and a half of our work, 500 pieces, all destroyed. And we were delivering them to Washington for the president's home and to be presented by him at a charity function 60 days later. So we had 60 days to do a year and a half's work. Time-wise, it looked almost impossible. It was 24-hour days, just non-stop. The last one was finished 15 minutes before they were presented. We came right in on the wire. That near failure turned to be one of our bigger successes because people saw what we did, how we did it, the commitment to the projects, and the belief in what we were doing. And it changed the entire scope of our work. So don't look at something going wrong as being necessarily bad. Find a way to make lemonade out of lemons. Or pretend it's a real martini.
I can take a lot of ribbing, but making fun of my martinis, I got to draw the line. Now you guys have done a lot of work in the U.S. and internationally, and yet you stay here in Halifax. So why is that? Did you lose a bet somewhere along the line?
No. We adopted our son. We naively thought raising him in a smaller community and a city like Halifax would be the smarter move. And I discovered that the museums, the nightlife, the theaters, the culture of a city like New York, Boston, Washington, Chicago would be how I would do it now. But we grew accustomed to the slower pace, enjoying things, and we became exotic. So financially, on the global market, when you're selling in London, Paris, or New York, making it in Nova Scotia is exotic.
People are
it's
glad
special.
to hear about where you're from. It's like, you know, if you're from Halifax and you're talking to somebody who's from Halifax, okay, they know everything that's going on. But if they're a buyer in Washington and you're from Halifax, you've come a long way to see them. And they want to hear about where you're from and what you do there and how you do it. And glad to have you here with us in Washington or New York. So it's
Canadians are Canadians' own worst enemy.
We don't realize
what we have and how exotic we are to the world. And it is to them exciting to have it made in Canada, created in Canada. To Canadians, it's why. We've got to learn to accept our own as being special and being more than we usually do. The worst enemy of a Canadian is a Canadian.
I've often thought that.
We say, I'm sorry, instead of, let's try. And the idea is we have to get out there and show our stuff on a world market. You wouldn't believe the number of artists we've helped over the years and got to know that struggled in their own communities, only to discover that when the broader audience and a global audience saw their work, they appreciated the work, they loved it, they found their niche. And it wasn't always in their hometown or their neighborhood, it was away. By living in the smaller communities, by living here, they're able to become exotic, special, because they're not at every party and at every event. So when they show up, it's an event in itself. And their work becomes treasured.
People have often described me and what I do with the show as special, but usually Olympics follows the description, and I take that.
Sorry, Paul.
I take that as a compliment. I know you
Probably
guys
after 20 of these.
them or me. I know that you guys are generous with your time with others and helping people, helping up and coming artists and that. But put your modesty aside for a minute. What are some of the things that you've worked on, that you've done, that are more exciting and that you're proud of?
The Resurrected Christ, a memorial for Ground Zero, became a key piece in our life. We were
piece that's had a lot of materials incorporated in it from actual the buildings from the Twin Towers. Sorry.
We were there when it happened, and by the grace of God, in 20 minutes, we were spared being in the buildings. So it became a turning point in our life, and a good one. For all of the horror of the year, I wouldn't change anything because it made us better people, and it changed our work forever,
so
for the
one
better.
Of the pieces. We had fun a couple of years ago making the three Christs out in the driveway. It was fun watching traffic go by. We go out there at 7 in the morning, and we were still there at
2 in the morning.
I'm not familiar with that one. Is it like a shell game? You have to pick the real one?
Well, you do have to pick the one that you believe is the Christ, but we created 3 crosses. There were no rood or cross. That was the 3 floating figures. One based on Salvador Dali's Christ, one on Michelangelo's, and one on Da Vinci's. And the 3 different versions of Christ. We started creating it, and one night a car was sitting across the street, and the next night it was there, and the third night it was there, and we went over and knocked on the window. If you're going to watch us work, come on in and watch us, because we wrote on the lawn. And it was the mayor, Peter Kelly, of Halifax at the time. And for the next 60 days or so, almost every night, he came out bringing us meals at about 11 or 12 o'clock at night, and would sit and watch us work after he had finished his day.
He wasn't allowed home that night, or?
He was a hard worker, and at that point, he really loved the artwork itself and the pieces. He understood the art, which was really nice to see in a politician, especially. He took the time to appreciate it. So that became a piece where we grew a lot of diverse friends who came to watch us work, and we grew to really love the pieces. Last 2 years, we've been working on the Queen's busts, miniatures and life-size and larger-than-life of Queen Elizabeth II for her Diamond Jubilee. There are moments that we joke we never want to see her face again. We've sculpted dozens of them. But it's actually been kind of fun, and it's fun to go into hospitals, government buildings, and see your work and see people having no idea who you are but enjoying the work or taking pictures with it.
It's not quite the same thing, but I have the same sort of feeling when I go into a post office and see my picture.
Well, I can see that. I can see that.